Is this going to be a huge week for PlayStation announcements? Hello friends, welcome back to Hyper Games. My name is Joseph and it seems PlayStation may be having a huge week of announcements ahead according to Greg Miller. What could it be? Let's speculate. Alright, so the rumors come from a tweet posted by Kinda Funny's Greg Miller early Sunday saying that it's looking like it might be a very interesting week for PlayStation if even one of the three rumors I've heard is true. As such, we're gonna delay recording PS I Love You XOXO until Thursday. PS I Love You XOXO, in case you don't know, is their PlayStation podcast hosted by Greg Miller himself, Blessing Adeoye Jr., and Janet Garcia, usually recorded Monday afternoons and available early Tuesday. A running joke since he was on IGN Podcast Beyond, IGN's PlayStation podcast, that still happens today for both Kinda Funny and Beyond, is that PlayStation always announces their big news after these guys have recorded, leaving them out of that coverage. Now, Kinda Funny always sends their Patreon schedule on Saturday or early Sunday, and the podcast was still scheduled for that usual slot as of Saturday afternoon. I may be wrong here, but I think Greg Miller doesn't usually hop on Twitter to talk or hype rumors, especially being this vague. He and the Kinda Funny team are very careful not to talk in advance of stuff they may know early, which makes his tweet very interesting. And it seems all three rumors are big enough that if one of them turns out true, it's important to talk about it on their podcast. Let's speculate about what these rumors might be. Let's start with the easy one. As Bloomberg reported, we may hear about the new Project Spartacus service that brings PlayStation Plus and PlayStation Now under the same umbrella as early as this week. I think we're indeed gonna learn about it this week since it's the time of the month when we hear about the PlayStation Plus games for next month, and it wouldn't make sense to announce new games and not announce any changes moving forward. But I don't think this could be one of those rumors Greg was referring to, first because this is a rumor that has been around for a while. He could have mentioned Spartacus in his tweet, or maybe he could be talking about a rumor on games that are going to be on the service. Either way, I'm not taking this one into account as being hinted at by Greg, but we're certainly gonna hear about it. The second choice could be another acquisition. They just announced Jay Raymond's Haven as part of PlayStation Studios, and it comes off the heels of them acquiring Bungie, and that are two examples from a big list since 2019. For a while there have been talks about Sony acquiring a big publisher like Konami, which I would be a fan of, them working with IPs like Metal Gear. Another is Square Enix, even Capcom or Bandai Namco, and not only Japanese ones but some from the West as well, like Ubisoft. If we go with a big publisher, I think Square Enix is the better candidate, but even after the Microsoft move with Bethesda and Activision, Sony seems to be fine with that, and they're going after development studios that make sense for their future, not publishers. Studios that have worked for a long time with them like Insomniac, Bluepoint and Housemarque, or studios that are looking towards the future like Haven or Bungie with their plans on games as a service. Not that a publisher wouldn't be important for them, but it seems to be their stance. If we go by this, I would say some potential candidates are Kojima Productions due to their work with Death Stranding, the support they received initially from Sony, and their current aspirations in regard to film and TV, something that had Bungie accepting a deal. Even though Kojima may feel restrained to work with a publisher again, but maybe his stance has changed with those ambitions. Another studio could be Supermassive Games, which already work with Sony developing Until Dawn and supporting other first-party projects, especially with VR, and Sony is about to launch PlayStation VR 2. And a third one could be Ilphonic, the guys who developed Friday the 13th and Predator Hunting Grounds published by Sony, as they have worked in asymmetrical multiplayer games, a space Sony may be interested in with those rumored games as a service plans. Now, what are the chances we may see Sony announce an acquisition back-to-back? I'll go with 50-50. I could see it happening depending on who it is next, especially if they want to report that as part of their current fiscal year ending March 31st. Another potential news we could have this week is regarding PlayStation VR 2, whether it's more details about it, new games that may be coming, or a release window, although it may be too early for that. PSVR 2 was reported as entering mass production earlier this year, and it seems developers were talking a lot about it during GDC presentations closed doors. And last in the news we could hear this week is another State of Play. There were some hints about Sony doing a big State of Play in March that seems to have been split into their own separate ones, We had a Japanese focused one in early March, and Hogwarts Legacy about 2 weeks ago, but those were missing some stuff from those rumors if they are true. Rumors like the reveal of a new Sly and Infamous games, Capcom ready to announce Resident Evil 4 Remake, something hinted at last year's PlayStation ad campaign. We should be hearing something about Final Fantasy XVI soon, given they said a new update would be coming in spring, and if God of War Ragnarok is truly releasing this year, we should hear about it soon as well. How likely is it we get yet another State of Play or PlayStation Showcase? I'll risk it here and go with high. We had one on a Wednesday and one on a Thursday, so if the Kinda Funny podcast is recording on Thursday, we might as well get one this week that could show some or maybe none of what I just mentioned and focuses on completely different games or PlayStation VR 2. And this could even be where they talk about Spartacus, like the PlayStation Plus collection for PS5 had a trailer in one of PS5's earlier presentations. So there you go, the news and speculation on what could happen with PlayStation in what seems to be a big week of announcements. But what do you think? Will PlayStation have indeed a huge week of announcements? What do you think those could be? Or is this just hype and we end up getting nothing? Share your thoughts in the comments below, like or dislike to share your feedback, check out other videos you may like while you're here, and consider subscribing for more PlayStation content. Thank you so much for watching, my name is Joseph, this is Hype for Games, and let's get hype!